Hello, friends, and welcome to the PrepWell podcast. I'm your host, Phil Black. And if you have an 8th, 9th, or 10th grader with big aspirations, like the Ivy League, or military service academies like West Point, ROTC, or athletic scholarships, boom, you've come to the right place. My specialty, my superpower, if you will, is preparing families for these competitive programs. I'll teach you what your child should do, when they should do it, and how you can help. So stick around and prepare to out-prepare. Hello, friends, and welcome back to the PrepWell podcast. In today's episode, my goal is to help all of the PrepWellers out there and future PrepWellers who are trying to make sense of high school, of college admissions, and their lives. And to do that, I want to introduce you to a word, a mindset really, that I hope will give you reason to pause and think. And I hope it will stick with you for the next few years, if not longer. And that word is prospective. Prospective, not to be confused or mistaken for the word perspective, a much more common word. Perspective, as you probably know, refers to one's point of view on an issue or a particular debate. Someone might ask you, well, what's your perspective on climate change, for example? Perspective is often developed by looking at what's happened in the past to draw a particular conclusion or to hold an opinion about something. And people's perspectives will vary based on their life experience, their upbringing, their education, and a host of factors. Most of you have little trouble articulating your perspective on a given question. After all, your brain is filled with a library of slides of images and experiences and sights and sounds and activities and memories that all happen to you in real life. And by referring back to those slides, you develop a certain perspective about things. For example, if I ask you, would you prefer in-person or remote learning? Or is it worth it to take 6 AP classes in one semester to boost your GPA? You would have your own unique perspective on how to answer these questions based on your experience. We are very familiar with sharing our perspective on a ton of things, from politics to technology to culture and relationships, all based on past experiences. However, what I don't see most of you doing, and I'm generalizing here, is working on your prospective. When you think prospectively, you are thinking about the future. Prospection is the act of playing a movie in your head about certain future states or events or activities that have not yet taken place. We're not talking about things that we've experienced already or close to what we've experienced already. I'm talking about brand new things, things that have never happened before, things that you have to construct in your own head. Prospection is the act of simulating our futures. It's one of those unique things about being human that we don't share with other animal species. We can think and plan ahead in great detail and in high fidelity. What I want you to do is to start working on your ability to build your prospective. I want you to start thinking about your future. I know it's not always easy because there are so many variables and where you end up is so, as we call it, path dependent. It's much easier to refer to the past to come up with a perspective than it is to imagine a future to come up with a prospective. But I'd like you to give it a try. I'd like you to imagine yourself in your senior year in high school. What type of person will you be? What kind of student? Who will your friends be? What kind of activities will you still be involved in? What will you have accomplished by then? And I don't want this to be a fuzzy simulation. I want you to think about it in full color, in full sound, in high definition. What will it be like? Play that movie in your head. And then I'd like you to take it a step further. I want you to imagine what type of college experience you want. What part of the country? What are you going to major in? How hard do you want to work? What type of roommate do you have? What kind of intramural sports are you playing? Do you go to the tailgate parties during the home football games? Are you burning the midnight oil in the library studying for organic chemistry? What kinds of clubs are you in? What types of things are you studying? What do you talk to your roommate about in your dorm room at 1 a.m.? Have you picked up any new hobbies? And of course, we can continue this thought experiment to where you see yourself after college and what type of job you might get and where you might live. But I don't want to push my luck. If I can get you to think about the next 6, 7, or 8 years, I'd be thrilled. Because my guess is that not many of you have gone through this exercise so explicitly. Sure, you've thought about your future, you've imagined things in broad strokes. Maybe you created a vision board when you were in middle school. But have you really tried to dial in the detail? Have you updated that vision board that you were forced to do in 7th grade? Have you ever put down your phone, laid down on your bed, and specifically thought about your future, as if you were writing, directing, and starring in your own movie? Because to some degree you are. We in the United States are blessed to have a lot of agency in our lives, meaning where our lives go is largely up to us. It's not based on luck or circumstance or someone else's mandate. It's up to us, generally speaking. So you may as well come up with a future that works for you. Now, if I had my way, I would love for you to write some of these thoughts down, to record your prospective view. But these days, I know that's a lot to ask, and I know I'd lose most of you if I insisted that you write or journal about these thoughts, so I'll settle for you thinking about it. If you're an overachiever, like the majority of PrepWellers, then please consider journaling these thoughts. Because as we've talked about before, the act of writing these things down is very, very powerful. Now, the next big leap and the key unlock for teenagers like you is your ability to connect these future thoughts, this movie in your mind, to your current behavior, what you're doing on a daily basis. This is the 1-2 punch that the most successful teenagers do. Let's review the sequence for the most successful teenagers. Number 1, they think about their future and develop prospective. And 2, they connect this future to what they're doing today, their behavior. And of course, they make course corrections if necessary. So my final question to you is, have you thought, and I mean really thought, about what you'll be doing for the next 7 or 8 years and how that will set you up for the rest of your life in detail? And if so, are you connecting that future with what you're doing today, right now? That's all I've got for you today, folks. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for the continued support. If you know a parent with an 8th grader, 9th grader, 10th grader in high school, 11th grader, that might find this episode helpful, please share the episode with them. You can do that by finding that small box with the tiny arrow pointing up. That's the share button. Click that button and text your friends the link to this episode with a little personal note from you recommending that they give it a listen. Of course, if you have questions, comments, or an idea for an upcoming episode, please reach out to me by email, DM me on Instagram, check out our blog, Facebook, connect with me on LinkedIn. I would love to hear from you. Until next week, goodbye, good luck, and never stop preparing. This podcast is brought to you by PrepWell Academy. PrepWell Academy is my one-of-a-kind online mentoring program that delivers to your 9th or 10th grader a short, highly relevant video from me every week, every Sunday, in fact, where I give them a heads up about what they should be thinking about to stay ahead of the game. To get these valuable lessons into your child's hands, please head over to PrepWellAcademy.com and enroll your child today.